Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear us? Fantastic. Got Lena commenting just now. So, hello, everyone. I'm Anthony White. I'm a student at the University of Aberdeen, and I'm delighted to have with me today Paul Mealor, the raw composer of this year's score, and Neil McLennan, the founder of the project I Play for Peace in 2018, and Scottish singer Fiona Kennedy. So I've been part of the I Play for Peace project since the very beginning in 2018. And in 2019, one of my scores was also premiered alongside Claire Paddy-Salters and Paul Anderson. So today we're just here just to talk to you about what's been happening behind the scenes, for Paul and Fiona to talk about the score itself, and to answer any questions you may have. So, Neil, over to you.
Great, Anthony. Thank you very, very much for kindly hosting tonight. And thank you again for your contributions each year. This project is growing year on year. And it's been great to see you developing as you started off as a musician in the first year. The second year, you were a composer. And this year, you've been an instrumental part of the video production, including tonight. So huge thanks to you, Anthony. The project started in 2017, the idea of the project, just as we were approaching the end of the First World War commemorations. I became a bit concerned that there was lots of commemoration activity going on, which was all very strong and very important. But there was an opportunity in the last year of commemorations to not only commemorate 100 years after the First World War, which the words still are striking significance. The First World War, the first time the world had torn itself apart. We absolutely need to commemorate that, but how could we 100 years on not only remember the past, but do something proactively to make sure that going forward, countries hopefully do not enter into conflict, and we try to find as many links, cultural links, societal links, people links across borders as possible. So I wrote an article in the Times newspaper. I wrote a number of Thunderer articles. I still do. I've got a Thunderer column in Times, and in that article I suggested that the best way to bring people together was a universal language. And there's only one language that crosses all borders, and that's the language of music. It's something that everyone enjoys, everyone can take part in, and that was a way to perhaps unite people together. So I pitched out this mad concept of people around the world all uniting together around the same piece of music. And in 2018, as you know, we conducted the first I Play for Peace concert. And on the first day that we did it in November 2018, we had no idea how many were going to join. And I was with musicians in Edinburgh at a concert venue, watching on live streams, thinking, I wonder who's going to join, where from. And all of a sudden, we had 45 different locations popped up from around the world. Everything from Lerwick Town Hall, there was a group of the Shetland Fiddlers played from up there. We had musicians at different war memorials across America. We had furthest south was in Pretoria. We had a school orchestra from France and Germany united together specifically to play on that day. And we had school children in Kosovo as well playing. So phenomenal to see all these different locations. And as if that wasn't mad enough, we did it a second time. The second year, we went for it again. And we had further countries join. We had Asia, we had Vietnam, we had Japan, we had Korea joining with us. And probably the most heartfelt story of the second year was Syrian and Turkish school children who again picked up instruments and played together at a time when those two countries were at conflict with each other. They were fighting across the border, and yet there was young people demonstrating to the adults, here's how life really can work if you cooperate together and you create together. So the project has grown and grown and grown, and this year it's hit a level which I don't think anyone could have envisaged before. Not only do we have musicians, we have choirs joining, but we have the royal composer, Paul Mealor, who's been a great friend over many years, a fellow Scottish samurai with our Japanese connections, and Fiona Kennedy, who, again, a great friend over many years, who has been involved supporting the university over many years and is a champion of Scottish culture and music across the world. So it's hit a point now where not only can people take part, but they can now take part with well-known, very well-known composers, very well-known musicians, and they're getting a chance this year to play and to sing alongside Fiona and the Royal Scottish National Orchestra, which is absolutely phenomenal. So it's just grown year on year, and it's changed the dynamic of remembrance. The morning part, we must have that silence. I think that should continue for 100 years more. That silence of reflection and remembering what has happened in previous wars. But then to then come from that into the afternoon part, where you then unite together in something proactively promoting peace. That's the aim of this. And I hope those who take part feel as though they are connected into a global community proactively promoting peace.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Neil. So as you see, this project is of course, it's very different due to the current circumstances with COVID-19. So this year we've had to go all virtual. And we're going to go over to Paul Mealor just now. Paul, I was just wondering, where did the idea start and what inspired you to write this piece of music, collaborating with Fiona and Graham Davies?
Yes, well, it started with, thanks, Anthony, and thanks, Neil, for that lovely introduction on the project. It's a very special project to be involved in. It started really with Fiona contacting me. Neil had contacted me many times about it, and I've tried so hard to get involved with it for various reasons in the past. I couldn't, I was doing something else. But this year, Fiona dropped me a line, and the dates worked, everything worked. So I said, right, this is it. Now's the time I can get stuck in and help out with this. And so we had a Zoom meeting in which we chatted about the ideas of the song, the importance of the song, what we wanted to convey. And particularly, even though the piece was going to be performed in November, of course, for Remembrance Sunday, it's being recorded, written, recorded, rehearsed now during this pandemic, which we haven't seen for 100 years. And so we wanted to capture not only the idea of remembering, but also the suffering that we're all feeling now. Many friends and family who have passed away, but who are also seriously ill. Events that we can't take part in, like friends' marriages that I've not been able to go to, funerals that I've not been able to go to, and we've all had the same stories. So it's as if we're left hanging in life at the moment. It feels now like the 1st of March to me, even though we're in the middle of October. And so we decided that we wanted a song that did that. And so I don't write words, so luckily I didn't have to worry about that. But so the others went away and did that and came back, and suddenly I had my words, which were lovely, and we're very happy with that. And so then I sat down and write the music, and then of course I do that and send it off, and everyone comes back with their thoughts and stuff. And so what I wanted to do in the music is give that feeling of us all kind of hanging, as if time has kind of stopped. And we discussed early on that we wanted to try and create a folk song, a song that maybe has always been there, but we've only just discovered it, and we talked a little bit about Burns and stuff and the various great folk songwriters. And so that's what we want to do. So the piece starts with a very high note in the violins. And that is as if, that's time, that's us, and the whole piece hangs on that. It starts and ends with that. And of course, at the end of the piece, it doesn't resolve. You would normally, at the end of a piece, finish, on the tonic, everything's finished and that's the end of it, but not in this piece. That note carries on hanging because, of course, we don't know when this is going to end. And so for me, that was the kind of skeleton of the piece. Now, a number of people have been messaging me about rehearsing it. How do we rehearse this piece? How do we get into the musical aspect of it? Well, in terms of singing, it's reasonably straightforward because Fiona does the kind of major work. She's got the most work to do, so she sings the whole thing. And so, but the choir only comes in the second part of the song, at the first chorus, and you join singing that chorus, and then as the second verse happens, you're backing, you're humming, which is of course incredibly important. It's very beautiful when you get the humming right, and then you come back for the second chorus. So in terms of learning your singing bits, you don't go too far wrong if you follow Fiona. When you're putting in your you don't go wrong at all, actually. If you put your if you listen to that, you won't go far wrong. So Anthony, I think you have a score for us to see on a shared screen thing.
Yes,
so
I do.
You can see a bit of that.
Yes, of course.
So for those of you that read music, this is the score. Now, of course, if you want to get involved in this project, you don't have to be able to read music. There are tracks which I think will be put in at various points during this live stream that you can click on if you haven't got them already, and hear your tracks for each part. So if you're a soprano or an alto or a tenor or a bass, you can hear those various bits. This is the reduction of the score, which we call in music. So there's a full score with orchestra, but this is what we call the piano reduction. So the piano part is basically playing the major bits that the orchestra is doing. So you'll see from the beginning, there's a lot of empty bars. So you get a bit of a chance to build into this. That top note E, as you see there in the piano on the first violins, that's that note that I was telling you about, that kind of holds the whole thing in place. There's then, we go through, Fiona sings the solo bit there into the next page. Oh, thanks, Anthony, brilliantly done. And you can see there at the bottom of page 2, that's when everybody else comes in if they're singers. Now, if you're instrumentalists, of course, you can start playing straight away. I mean, you don't have to wait for these various things. But as a choir, you'll see that it's quite clearly labeled SATB. What we want at this section leading into B is a big sound, a round sound. So we want kind of trumpet lips, well supported. And so when the orchestra, which will go full tilt into B with cymbals and with harps and guitars and everything flying around, we need to hear the choir at that bit. And that will allow Fiona to have a little bit of rest as well. So you need to support her there, the choir, in that. The soprano line is exactly the same as what Fiona is singing. Altos, you're almost always a third lower, which is a pretty nice place for altos to be. And that then is mirrored in the tenors and the basses. So it's pretty straightforward. And that carries through right the way through to the end of bar 33 or measure 33 if you're joining us from the US. And at this bit, you'll see what we call in the UK a hairpin going into bar or measure 34. And that's this bit when we actually need everything that you've got. So you can take, I think in bar 33, measure 33, you can take a quaver off that long dotted note on warm to take a big breath on that quaver and support, and then really, that's as Anthony's pointing out there, you can take a little bit of break there on that quaver to help you into that next bit. Now you'll notice this piece switches and changes between minor and major keys to kind of in many ways suggest the mood that we're all in. You know, sometimes we can kind of coping with this entrapment and sometimes we just can't. And so suddenly there are lights and shades in the piece all the way along. Basses, we really need you at 34. Because that's the descending line, which the cellos and basses will also be helping us with. So that's an important bit for you there. So if we turn over now to the next bit. Here, now you need to kind of ease off at 37. And this is kind of, we're gradually moving away from full chorus back into soloistic singing. So by the end of bar measure 40, where you're singing the final lines of Stronger for the Storm, this is where you need to kind of taper it off so it's almost to nothing into that bar 41. Here again, if you see at the top, Fiona brings in the second verse, and this time we're all humming. Now, people have messaged me a number of times saying, how do I like the humming? Well, of course, there are many ways you can hum. I would suggest in this, now, if you've already recorded it and sent it off, don't worry. We have an amazing producer called Callum Malcolm that can do anything. So don't worry at all about that. But at 42, if you haven't already sent off your bit, your recording, think of the hum, it's really a closed mouth hum. We really don't need much here at all. So keep the lips closed. Because Callum, the producer, can easily bring out those lines if we need them. You don't have to do it in your singing. You might need basses as you go down to that low F you see in 44. You might need to open your mouth a little bit to get that low note. That's fine, don't worry. Just to support on those low ones, we don't mind. I would suggest we take a little break before measure 46. So just at the end of 45, bar 45, if you take a little break there and then start that humming, that bang on that bar measure 46, that'll be fine. And you keep that going all the way through until the end of page 5, which is at bar measure 56, I think, when you get the same thing that you did before in the chorus. That's this now that we want quite a large sound, but not everything. You need to hold back until the next bit, because there's another hairpin in the next page, as you'll see, which is actually the fullest sound that we want in this. And that is at, as you'll see there, measure 63, bar 63. And again, I'd suggest just shaving off, taking away the quaver beforehand. So the word warm is cut short a little bit, so you can breathe and start together, all together on that and. And's a tricky word to start a sentence with, and especially if you're starting not on the beat. So kind of sing into it, and on. So it's the D really you're singing into, and the N helps you into that. So, and friendship is what we're after. So the D touches with the word friendship, it'll be lovely. And then again at 70, as we're singing the final lines of Strong for the Storm, imagine all the way through those last 2 bars of that, it's diminuendo to the very end. And that then allows Fiona to sing the very last couple of words as a solo, and the opening strings come back, and then we're left hanging again in that high E tonality. So I think that's all the major things in the song. Again, if there are questions, you can ask us later on, but they're the practical things that people have asked me about. And I hope that's been some help, Anthony.
Brilliant. That's fantastic, Paul. Thank you so much. Fiona, would you give any advice, for the sopranos and altos, in terms of, for the loud bits, exerting a bit more as a singer yourself? Would you have any tips or tricks of the trade?
Well, for me, first of all, hello, everyone. And also thank you, Anthony, very much for hosting this evening. And it's lovely to join with Neil and Paul. In terms of tips, I just felt the words. I think we're telling a story, and as Paul eloquently said, some of the song definitely is mirroring the time that we're living in and asking questions. And for me, one of the crux of the matter is we cannot choose the story or the season, but we can choose the song. And I just felt that I was trying to communicate that throughout my version of it, to communicate that we're all in this together. We've been thrown into a turbulent situation, and songs, all good folk songs, tell a story of their time. And as Paul mentioned earlier, when we first had that Zoom call to discuss, well, what kind of song is it that we would hope to bring about? It was very much a Celtic classic in a way. And then that's when we discussed, well, who are the great writers? And of course, Robert Burns, this song has come, Paul has been in Aberdeen for a long time. I live in Aberdeenshire. Neil is in Aberdeenshire. Robert Burns' father lived just down the road from Stonehaven. So there was very much a feeling of something coming out of Scotland that was local, but was also global, and that had a global message of friendship. And when it comes to actually singing, I'm not going to lie. The first time I sat with at the piano with the music, well, I'm very pleased Paul Mealor wasn't there at that point, as I scratched my way through thinking, oh my, this is actually quite a tricky song to sing. And then you let the words speak for themselves, because it does have a bit of a range, but it's telling the story. So I would just urge everyone who's singing to tell the story. And I was also thinking Scotland, New Zealand, Tolkien, Robert Plant, all sorts of influences. There were certain ways that I scooped on certain notes. I don't know why I did that. It's just what I felt. And I think as a singer, you have to feel, and you simply want to get that across to your audience. And I'm just really excited about hearing the harmonies and when we all come together. And also, as Paul said, the humming is really important. People might say, oh, well, that's only humming. Actually, it's so atmospheric. So if you're just a hummer out there, be not afraid, hum away and send your part in. So I think feel the song, read the words, and just get the emotion of that across, because we cannot choose the story or the season, but we can choose the song.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Fiona. We've got a whole load of supporters in the YouTube channel. We've got Lena, who has asked, how can we be sure our files are downloaded? So Lena, I will be on the Facebook group, just monitoring how the files are coming in. As you know, I'm kind of assisting the post-production on this side of things, so I will be on the lookout in a Dropbox. So I'll be acting as your receipts, if you will, to confirm that your submissions have come in. So don't worry. And she's also said, I have I've sent along with the alto line because she's loved it so much, she said. So we've got Lena, who's loved the song so much, she's such a big fan. And she said, also, would you mind if you upload myself singing the whole song? Yes, you may. So we've got some fantastic supporters. As you can see, Paul and Fiona, it's really got into the hearts of many musicians across the world in this very challenging time. So thank you very much, Lena. Thank you very much. So I think the kind of last few things are, I'm just about to post all the Dropbox links in the YouTube chat, so you can review this at your own pleasure, depending where you are in the world. So Neil, I thought just to kind of finish off, of course I've mentioned about the website in the YouTube chat, but how can you still take part? And is there anything that we can do to help?
Yeah, thanks, Anthony. There's still time to take part. We are accepting submissions from now up until the end of the day on the 11th of October. And all of the submissions will come in via the Dropbox links that you've just described. So if you search iSing4Peace, so iSing and the number 4 Peace, on social media, you'll come across the links, and you'll come across a wonderful graphic that Steve Baxter has designed, which helps to guide people through where to download the music, where they can watch the wonderful support videos, and then where they can then upload the music. So there's still lots of time to take part. After that, we'll bring it all together. As you said, Callum Malcolm is primed and waiting to start to work with the files, work with the submissions, and then really have it ready for Remembrance Sunday, because for Remembrance Sunday, the music will be broadcast, it will be released, and what's really special this year is the charities who are going to benefit from the collaborative effort of everyone, from Paul, from Fiona, from submissions from Poland, from Spain, America, Australia, contacts in Japan who are in touch just now. The French Embassy were tweeting out about it during the week, and Clarence House were tweeting out about it during the week. So we've got a vast array of interest. Once it all comes together, the single will be released, and very, very kindly, those who are taking part have agreed to share their royalties with 4 charities, and that's the real special thing about this. Not only are people getting an experience of connecting together, but they're helping some great charities. So the British Red Cross Disasters Fund, which helps in international crises across the world. We have the Royal Commonwealth Ex-Services Legion, who the Royal Commonwealth Ex-Services League support veterans across the Commonwealth, not just in the UK, but in Commonwealth countries. And then we have 2 local charities, VSA and Aberdeen, who are celebrating this year their 150th birthday, and they support in social care, and particularly mental health at this time during the coronavirus. And the University of Aberdeen Development Trust, who are again going to develop the funds to support with mental health issues around about coronavirus. So what we've got is 2 major international charities there who benefit, and 2 local charities, which goes back to what Fiona talked about earlier. One of the things we talked about was how could we act locally, but be thinking about how we could help people globally. So hopefully the charitable aspect helps with that as well, Anthony.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Neil. We have a question from Santa Walker. So she's asking, can you tell us what will be happening once all the parts have been submitted? And when can we expect a final rendition? So to answer your question, Santa, we're aiming to finish the kind of virtual post-production of the virtual choir, Eric Whitaker style, by November the 11th. So I believe that there's some discussions going on about the 8th of November. Neil, is there discussions about the
Yes, so the music will go out on the 8th of November, and that's the intention. It will be broadcast on the 8th of November. We'll share more details of that very soon. And then, as you say, on the 11th for Remembrance Sunday, the video will go out then, so people can see themselves on Remembrance Day itself. On the 11th, they'll be able to see the video. And we've got, as you said, submissions coming in from across the world already. And we've also got some lovely footage of Fiona in some iconic Scottish venues, which really symbolise what we're singing about, this concept of being stronger for the storm, this concept of years of warfare, going through coronavirus just now, but together humanity will thrive and will flourish at the other end of it. And ultimately that message of friendship, connecting together to see us through the difficult points of life. So we look forward to seeing that collaborative video being shared in November as well.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much. So this sort of concludes our live stream. There's many people to thank in the process of the production, behind the scenes. I think thanks, going back to 2018, thanks to Thorin Ferguson, who composed the first Armistice that was performed at Craig Lockhart at Edinburgh Napier University. So a massive thank you to him and yourself, Neil, for starting the whole project in 2018. And of course, Paul Anderson, Claire Perry-Salters, and Gary Seath, who played a pivotal role in amongst the staff at Edinburgh Napier to make the Anchor concert happen last year. And this year, of course, we've got the fantastic support of the RSNO, who've kindly recorded for us, and many other sponsors, the VSA, the University of Aberdeen Development Trust, and is it Red Cross? British Red Cross. So our charities have been very, very supportive this year, and we hope to share more post-production and things behind the scenes in the weeks to come. Just kind of a bit of housekeeping just to finish off. If anyone has any questions about submissions, or they're worried if their video has not come in, just send us an email through iSing4Peace@abdn.ac.uk, and one of us will be getting back to you. Or if you're already in the Facebook chat, Facebook group, iSing4Peace, then drop us a comment or a line through there. Or if you're on Twitter or on Instagram, do send us a message to make sure if you have any questions that we may answer them. So I think it's safe to say a massive thank you to Paul, our raw composer, who's composed a really evocative score this year in such a tough time, and Fiona Kennedy for providing a wonderful voice. We've got Lena Izzat, who said, Fiona, you have a voice of an angel. And you literally made the masterpiece of a song sound phenomenal. So, I think rest assured that you're really a wonderful part of this project. And of course to Neil, who's a senior lecturer at the University of Aberdeen, a lecturer of leadership as well, and also a fellow of the RSA, alongside with Paul. So together we will create music and conflict, and hopefully we'll make the world a better place. So thank you ever so much, everyone, and we will keep in touch, and we'll let you know of any developments that happen. Thank you very much, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and we hope to be with you soon.
And a thank you to you as well, Anthony.
Thank you very much, all. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.